All right, well, I'm here with Beans, and we're in his man cave here, which is really cool. All the nerd stuff I like. So, fan of Moon Knight. I like it. It's got Godzilla, samurai swords. Very cool. But he came up with the idea of talking about the Iliamna lake monster. And I know Alaska does have a history of water monsters, both in the saltwater and, interestingly enough, in some of our very large lakes. So, what do you think about some of these?
Well, I mean, Alaska, there's so many. I was showing you on the map earlier a place I like to go and look for Bigfoot, and it just looks like acres and acres of forest, but somebody just threw like a shotgun shell full of shot of just lakes, just boom, just all
Yeah,
over the landscape. Probably, what is it? Minnesota, that's a land of 1,000 lakes or something like that.
my buddy had a book on that lake system for canoers that was just all
Yeah,
about canoeing that lake system.
yeah.
So,
So I think Alaska probably rivals any state in the lower 48
yeah.
with the number of lakes that it has, and there's who knows what's in them. You know, some of them aren't even named. You try and look them up, and maybe they just have like a you know lake number one or something on them. So
Right. And there's some that are like multiple names. Like there's probably 30
yeah,
long lakes in Alaska. But we have like the second or third biggest lake in the continent, I want to say.
yeah, and
I
it's not
know.
very far from here at all. It's just
Right.
across the bay from us, where
Yeah.
we're sitting right now, and there's been a long history of the Lake Iliamna monster,
Hmm.
and it's just a large. I think one of the first sightings of it was from an airplane, which makes sense for Alaska with all the air travel.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's been seen several times since then. Something large definitely living in that lake, and I'm not sure if there is access to the ocean from the lake. I think maybe there might be some speculation. There might be some underground caverns or something.
Rob was saying he thought at one time that he had heard there
Yeah,
was a saltwater connection.
I'm
So,
sure if not now, at least sometime in the past, it was
yeah.
attached to the ocean and maybe got cut off.
All right, I'm here with Rob Roy Menzies in the Bigfoot Art Gallery in Palmer, Alaska. Tell us about the
Ooh.
shop.
Well, we do custom matting and framing here in Palmer. Been doing it for quite a long time. But we have the Bigfoot theme. So, of course, we have Bigfoot stuff in here. Of course, I'm into Bigfoot, so you can talk to me. Pia likes Bigfoot too. She loves to hear the stories. But anyway, we've been here for about 4 years now, and it's building up quite a little following here. It's pretty. It's been an interesting ride, let me tell you that. So.
It's a special treat because I get to come here, meet people that come into the shop, hear stories, talk to you. I always buy something. I'm going to get another hoodie because my
Yeah.
kid stole my hoodie, my
Oh,
last one I got from
oh.
you. So,
Well, yeah, it happens.
yeah,
So yeah, so lots of Bigfoot swag in here, but yeah, get a lot of stories. I get a lot of people come in here. You know, they feel safe. You know,
right.
once they walk in, they're like, okay, I
And
can
you've
tell my
got
story.
all your artwork here, and a lot of them
Yeah,
are affordable because you can get
yeah,
prints, and that's what
yep,
I've been doing. I've been getting prints from you.
right, right.
So,
So yeah, I sell my artwork. It's one of the only places you can buy my artwork, which is kind of cool too. But
absolutely. But if people had to, they could go on your Facebook page
yeah, they can go
and
on my
order.
Facebook page or my website, and you can always feel free to call the gallery because it's either Pio or myself here going to
Yeah,
answer the phone. So I can fulfill orders. I can make prints.
absolutely.
You know, there's a lot of art I have. So, you know,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, the topic I wanted to talk about today, and Beans Baxter is going to do a video too. He's been chiming in and giving me ideas, but this is an interesting topic. How do you think Bigfoot survives in the Alaska winter when you're
Oh
covered in 3 feet of
man,
snow?
that's such a great question because let's just take Area A for example. I've been
Yeah.
there, of course, in the summer, but
Hmm.
I've also been there out kind of in the winter when the
Right.
snow is still just everywhere.
Yeah.
And personally, I sit there and look at that mountain, which is, I'm talking a mountain which we've heard a lot of vocals coming from.
Yeah.
I don't know how they would ever want to be on that. There's little avalanches coming down. It's just,
Right.
why would anything alive on this earth want to walk around up there? And we've explored around. It's really hard to get around out there. The snow's really deep. I don't know. We wonder, do they migrate?
Right.
Do they just go in the caves? Do they not do anything? They just walk around?
I think they're less active. I was thinking that
I would
they
think.
might not hibernate, but they probably spend a
Yeah.
lot of time in their little caves and
I
stuff.
don't personally. I don't think they hibernate, but I could be wrong. But I think they just, yeah, like you said, I think they slow down. Maybe they go somewhere that's a little less, I don't know, wintry. Maybe, I don't know. But I don't know. There's been people have seen them in the wintertime, so it's not like they go away completely.
Yeah.
We really wanted to go out to Area A this winter, and it just didn't work out. And just to see
Right.
if there's anything interesting going on. But I've been out there in, I want to say, early April, and there was still a lot of snow.
Yeah.
And we found tracks of deer, bear. There's a wolf, even mountain goats, but nothing Bigfoot in the snow.
Okay.
That's another kind of, in person, it's like a mystery. I'm like, I keep hoping we'll find something.
They're just not as active.
Not in the snow. I mean, maybe they're up higher, or maybe they do sleep.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Right.
But only the Bigfoot knows.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if they're collecting food.
Yeah, if they like live in caves and they do go out in the winter, but they generally like we do, we're kind of, they probably get cabin fever too.
Right.
Maybe they get stir crazy.
Absolutely.
Because of the winter. I mean, I couldn't imagine these things walking around. But again, if they're 10 to 14 feet tall,
Yeah.
some of the snow we have a hard time walking through would be pretty easy for them.
True. Yeah.
But I would be very excited if I ever saw, especially out in Area A or anywhere for that matter, but if I saw snow tracks, I'd be very intrigued. I've personally never seen them, so, but I've known people who have in the winter.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
They're still out and about.
Apparently, yeah.
Not as much.
The one story from Eagle River after our major earthquake about 6 years ago, a gentleman walked out of his house after the earthquake and saw these ginormous footprints going through his yard and walking up on the snowbank, and he thought it was a bear. He thought it was just a bear.
Yeah.
And maybe it woke up from the earthquake.
Right.
And he did. I remember him telling me, he said to himself out loud, "Oh, it woke you up too, big boy." And he was thinking bear.
Right.
So later in the day, he decided to go look at the tracks, and voila, they were big human footprints.
Wow.
And this was in the winter, if you remember that, and he followed. This guy was a professional tracker, and he followed these footprints all the way up towards Eklutna.
Wow.
He said he went about a mile, and these tracks did not change. They were just marching away. They kept going, and he started feeling a little scared.
Oh, yeah.
So he stopped and turned around. But interesting story.
Absolutely.
Again, but that's a winter thing. Whether the earthquake woke him up,
Right.
I don't know.
Awesome. Well, everybody check out the Bigfoot Art Gallery on Facebook, and Rob has his own YouTube channel, so I will have a link for that, and subscribe to his YouTube channel. But look forward to next week.
Yes.
There's a lot of theories out there as to what it could be. I'm a big fan of the sturgeon theory, that it's actually like a large sturgeon. I'm not a sturgeon expert. I've never fished for them. I've never caught one. But from what I understand, they're kind of a lot like goldfish, whereas they will grow to the size of the container that they're in.
Right, like a pike.
Yeah. And so if it's in the third largest lake in the world, whatever it is, then I think it's easy to believe that it would grow to an enormous size, maybe a size that would seem monstrous to the casual observer, and especially someone that's not familiar with looking at that species of fish. I've always wanted to go over there and look for it and maybe do a little documentary about it. I haven't quite figured out the logistics of it yet. I know it's a tourist destination. There's some places to stay over there, but getting out on the lake itself, I think, would be the challenge, and finding someone that would be willing to let you go out there and just look for the lake monster. Maybe a little fishing on the side, but the primary goal would be to have a sighting or
Yeah.
get some proof of that monster over there.
Absolutely, that'd be amazing. So I know all the locals there. The stories of the lake monster goes back a very long time, and a lot of the locals believe in it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the lifespan of a sturgeon is. I would assume there's probably a breeding population, and there's probably been more than one over the years, or it could be one like really. I think koi can live to be very old, so maybe it's just one really old fish. But
Yeah, and they're ancient too. That's like an ancient species of fish too.
and it might not be a sturgeon. It might be something completely unknown. It could be something that got trapped there, and much like the Loch Ness theory that people theorize with Loch Ness, it just might be something that got trapped in there and has been surviving ever since the prehistoric days. If you think about it, it wasn't that long ago when woolly mammoths were walking around here. It was only about 11, 12,000 years ago, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that far from us.
No.
So, if something can live to be a few hundred years old, then, I mean, it's certainly possible.
Yeah. And what was I thinking of? That lake gets really deep too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would be easy for something to hide. It's underwater. Humans don't really go under the water, especially out there.
Yeah. I would be curious to know if they've ever done any of the environmental DNA testing out there. If not, that would be, if I ever get over there and get to look, that would be something that I would want to try and do. I think it's a little cost prohibitive right now. I think it's kind of expensive because you have to get some special filters and like certain micron filters that filter down to a certain micron level or something. But if it's ever within my power to do so, I'd love to do that.
And that would just be a sample from the water.
Yeah, you basically go around to different parts of the lake, take different samples. It filters out the water, and you're left with basically DNA. And then you send it off to a lab, and they identify like, okay, well, this is salmon DNA. This is, it's not uncommon to find, moose or beaver or whatever, any animal basically that spends any length of time in the water. It's possible to find some DNA in there.
Okay. Awesome. Well, yeah, maybe sometime in the future we'll get a chance to go over there. It is just a quick plane hop from here.
Yeah, it's Alaska. It's close, but it's so far.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, everybody check out Alaskwatch on YouTube and on the podcast platforms.